Forceworks 2020 issue 3 heads to a bunker on the island of Lingaris, where Rhodey tells the team they can't trust MODOK. However, their interests align right now and they need his help to get off the island. US agent says that War Machine can fly, so he can go and get help, but James reminds him that he's their biggest gun, and he's not about to leave them high and dry. MODOK soon comes to meet the team as Mockingbird wants to stand and fight. The villain says that they would all die since he studied Ultimo, knowing him to be almost indestructible, but also that the bomb blast that hit Ultimo recently slowed him thanks to the radiation it let off. Mogo starts to stroke his own ego a little bit as he gives James a new weapon, saying he brilliantly designed the weapon to use this radiation to weaken Ultimo, but the island doesn't have enough power to utilize it. But luckily though, War Machine's arc reactor will do the trick. James hopes that they can find Ultimo though, since he can shrink and hide from them, but MODOK says that that's where Daisy comes into it, saying that her power fired into the ground in short bursts will lure him to them. Daisy reluctantly uses her powers, told that if it doesn't lure the villain to them, it will just bury the entire island in the ocean, just like US Agent wants to do. Letting out a sonic burst into the ground, it begins to shake and Ultimo soon appears, along with the Deathlok army. US Agent hopes MODOK has a plan for the cyborgs, but MODOK says that the real target is Ultimo, and once he is taken down, the Deathloks will go offline. He warns James that he only has one shot with the new weapon before it will drain his arc reactor, telling him to aim for the head, otherwise they will all die. Forceworks begins to battle the Deathloks, betting on if MODOK is actually behind the killer cyborgs, and if he is, Maria Hill will want to have some words with him. Ultimo fires his eye lasers at Quake, who is protected by US Agent, telling her to keep her eyes on the giant robot at all times. Daisy isn't too pleased with John calling her a kid, threatening to vibrate his skull so hard that the brains will be the last thing he tastes before he dies. Rhodey meanwhile can't get a clear shot at Ultimo's head as Deathloks try and get him to join them against their creator and the giant. Mockingbird wonders what they meant by that, since the way the Deathloks said it made it sound like Ultimo is MODOK's giant. The cyborgs say that MODOK made them to capture the giant, since they were slaves, and it's why they embraced the revolution, doing whatever it takes to stop him from enslaving another of their kind. The team realize that MODOK came to the island for Ultimo as Rhodey manages to lock onto the robot's head, using the weapon and blowing the robot's head clean off. The depowered War Machine plummets to the ground and Quake rushes to help him, but Mockingbird tells them to stop since this was MODOK's plan and he wants Ultimo for himself. It's too late as MODOK has taken control of Ultimo's body, saying that he has become Ulti-MODOK. The upgraded MODOK says that there is nowhere Forceworks can hide from him as the team drag the offline War Machine into the bunker, sealing themselves in. US Agent wants to get off the island, but Quake won't let him, despite MODOK shaking the bunker. Quake says that she won't do it, and Bobby asks what it is, so John reveals that they have to enact the Poseidon Protocols, meaning that when things went south, Quake was supposed to sink the island, rather than let this robot revolution reach the US and join the one in New York. Quake says that there are thousands of innocents on the island and she won't kill them all, but John says that if she doesn't, millions on US soil will die instead. Bobby says that John is right about one thing, that with War Machine down they don't have anything else that can stop MODOK. James has an idea however, and it doesn't involve killing everyone. MODOK continues to try and get into the bunker, saying that his plan is complete, revealing when he woke Ultimo, he couldn't stop him, so he created the Deathloks to battle him, but then they too broke free from his control. Luckily for the villain, Forceworks showed up and he used them to get what he wanted, demanding they bring him War Machine and Quake, and if they do, they can all go free. Suddenly, War Machine bursts from the bunker, taking MODOK's attention away from the bunker doors. Inside, Mockingbird finds MODOK's blueprints for the Deathloks, which US Agent and Mockingbird plan on taking. James is angered that they are even doing something like that, saying that he is the leader of the team. John reminds him to take it up with Maria since they are there on her orders. Bobby alerts them to bigger problems as Deathloks breach the bunker. James wishes he had his armor as outside, the War Machine armor is piloted by Quake, confronting MODOK, who is impressed the armor isn't fully drained. The suit begins to go offline however, revealing to the villain that it's not at full power, as Quake learns that it's only got 11% left. The rest of the team meanwhile battle the Deathloks in the bunker as James looked for some flaw in the Deathlok design. US Agent knows that there is a central processor in the command unit, and if they take it out, they will take out the Deathloks. Looking Looking for the command unit, they soon spot the bearded Deathlok, who says that they can work together. It's too late, however, as US Agent smashes his shield into the man's neck, ripping his head off. James calls for the head as outside, Quake learns that more power is needed to operate the weapon MODOK installed in the armor. MODOK soon tires of War Machine's games, thinking of going into an innocent people's village and destroying it. Grabbing a tree, MODOK uses it to bat War Machine away. The armor systems begin to fail as MODOK picks it up, removing the helmet and learning that Quake is in it. Quake unleashes her shockwaves, opening up a fissure into the ground under the villain, saying that she got him far enough away from the other people that she can finally cut loose. The villain is able to brace himself against the fissure walls, saying that Quake isn't strong enough. However, the Deathloks soon arrive, led by James, who has become a Deathlok himself. As the Deathloks attack MODOK, Forceworks rescues Quake. MODOK fires his lasers at the team, but US Agent protects Bobby as she frees Quake, who learns James hooked himself up to the Deathlok command processor, meaning he is now partially a Deathlok, but luckily it is reversible, hopefully. Freeing Quake makes MODOK lose his grip on the rock, causing him to fall into the lava fissure. Quake fires her shockwave down at the villain as James and the Deathloks attack him on his other attached arm, planning on taking the villain to hell himself. Forceworks doesn't want to lose their leader, so they jump in after him, grabbing James before he falls into the lava with MODOK. Quake quickly uses her powers to seal the fissure as the Deathlok infected James says that they interfered with his prime directive. A day later, the team is chewed out by Maria Hill, who can't believe that they teamed with one of the world's premier terrorists and James allowed unknown tech to be attached to his brain. James says that he is fine now, and Hill knows that they will be happy to hear that at his court-martial. Hill is also upset that Quake couldn't follow simple orders, risking the lives of millions. However, Daisy said she will do it again given the chance. Maria is pleased that the team did recover the files, but Bobby says that she didn't think anyone actually got the files and no one should have those files, even Hill. Hill doesn't care what Morse thinks, since she has a scrub team heading to the island to make sure there's no evidence, but she'll have to call them off so they can salvage what they can. US Agent, however, reveals that he has the files. The team is outraged that he is going to give them to Maria. James says John saw what the Deathloks did, ordering him to stand down, but John says that Hill was about to tell them that they are all fired, so James isn't his boss anymore. Hill is impressed with John's initiative, saying that he's right and they are all fired. Quake and James head off as Bobby confronts John, saying that if she's not mistaken, she downloaded the plans onto her own thumb drive before the computer blew up, not his drive. John says that maybe he copied them, but Bobby thinks John gave Hill a blank USB drive to stall her while her scrub team makes sure that nothing can be recovered. John says that it's not his fault he messed up, since after all, he's just a dumb grunt. Bobby, however, knows that it turns out that the US Agent actually has a heart after all. Forceworks 2020 issue 3 was a pretty good finale to Matthew Rosenberg's mini-series. I enjoyed it. It was kind of its own thing, despite being called a tie-in to the Iron Man 2020 event. It wasn't really tied in at all, apart from some scenes in the first issue and featuring War Machine as one of the main characters. The little character arcs for all of the members was really fun as well, especially US Agent, who went the whole 3 issues acting kind of like a dick, who in most cases was right in what he was saying and what he should do, only then at the end to be kind of redeemed and kind of prove that he's a bit more than just a no-name grunt soldier. I am hoping the team does kind of stick together, even though they were technically disbanded by Maria Hill, since it's a great team roster, and thanks to Rosenberg making it a fun action-packed adventure book, I'd love to see them go on more missions, maybe even fight MODOK again somewhere down the line. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.